Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Chris and today I'm going to show you how to replace your old Floyd style tremolo in your guitar with a Schaller Vintage Trem so that in the end it looks like this. Enjoy! Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, this video is not sponsored by Schaller. I bought the unit a couple of months ago but didn't really get to put it in the guitar yet. And earlier today I was finally able to do so. And I have to say it was such an easy fix, quote unquote, and such an easy replacement that I thought, I'm going to talk about this on the internet, for maybe it helps other people as well. So the guitar that I chose for this is my old ESP LTD M200 FM. Now, this is a special guitar for me because my parents gave it to me for my 18th birthday, and over the years this has been a bit modded here, a bit modded there, and when the original, like the stock Floyd that it came with, pretty much pieced out on me, it just hung on my wall for many months and years. And it's a shame because it's a wonderful and beautiful guitar. So I found out about the vintage trem, the Schaller Vintage Trem, and figured it was a drop-in replacement, and here we are now. So drop-in replacement, what does that mean? Well, it pretty much means you don't have to be a handyman or you don't really need any tools to replace the old Floyd. Now I have this old licensed thingy right here. So pretty much my tutorial on this is get rid of the old strings, get rid of these screws or just unplug them from the block that you have on your trem, and then just put the new Schaller trem in. That's pretty much it. Now at this point in the video I forgot to mention that you would need, of course, to reattach the springs to the trem. If you ever maintained a Floyd Rose or maybe changed string gauges or whatever, this will be a regular procedure for you. So just like with any other Floyd Rose, reattach the springs and then you might have to adjust them depending on the gauge and manufacturer of strings that you're using. Now, one of the most important and probably first questions is how does the final product look with the new tremolo in here? And that pretty much depends on what kind of Floyd Rose setup you had in the first place. Is this a recessed Floyd Rose guitar or is this a top-mounted Floyd Rose guitar? Now, in this case, with the LTD M200 FM, it is a recessed Floyd Rose. So the cavity in here where the screws go, this will of course stay. And I have to admit it looks a bit weird. It's just this, well, there's a hole here. And it looks a bit weird. It's honestly, I can live with it, but it might look a bit weird from afar. I don't know, maybe you can put a sticker on top of it, or if you're like good with tools and woodwork, you can actually fill the hole here. I can't do that, so it has to stay like this for now. But that's okay for me. Now, of course, you won't have that issue with the cavity if your guitar has a top-mounted Floyd like I have here on my Jackson R24 FRH. If you want to see a review of that guitar, I will put it in the info card right now and in the description. So, because there is no cavity here, you just pretty much put in the vintage trem and that's that. Now, once you have installed the tremolo and restrung the guitar, you have to do two things to get this party started. First of all, in order to get back the action that you used to, you will have to adjust the height as you would on a Floyd Rose. So it is recommended that you loosen the strings, adjust the height, and then tune the guitar back, and then if it's still too low or too high, repeat, repeat, repeat. Once that is finished, you will also have to adjust the intonation back here with the screws. This is pretty much like on a regular Strat or a Telecaster or whatever, with a vintage trem or a vintage bridge. And once that's all set, you're good to go. Now, what you do have to keep in mind is that the actual principle of a Floyd Rose in terms of how the springs work still applies. So it's not like you all of a sudden have a fixed bridge and can detune however you like. You will still, one string will still influence the tuning of another. So stuff like double stops might work a bit, but will not sound as in tune as they would on a fixed bridge, like on a Telecaster or on a Les Paul or whatever. So if I pluck one string but bend another, you will hear the effect a lot better. So something to keep in mind. Now, how's the tuning stability of the Vintage Trem? Well, since you're getting pretty much rid of the locking functionality of the Floyd Rose by replacing it with the Vintage Trem, there need to be a couple of things in order for the guitar to stay perfectly in tune. The Trem itself works great in my opinion. It doesn't have any sharp edges, the strings don't move around. I'm gonna talk about the overall feel in a minute, but to me, I don't have the feeling that it brings a string out of tune by itself. So 100% satisfied from that point of view. Now, all the other things that you need to check for, if you're a beginner or if you have never replaced a Floyd Rose or never played with a Vintage Trem, you still would need to check a couple of more things, like I said. First of all, your strings, are they worn out? Are they new? Like, what gauge are you using? All this affects not only your playing, but tuning stability. So if you have super new strings, like a couple of minutes old, these you need to break them in, because otherwise they will pretty much get tighter or looser and all that stuff. So yeah, I think super new strings, super fresh strings are equally as prone to getting out of tune as like 6 months old strings. So if your strings have been played in and have been stretched a bit, you should be good to go. Then also there would be the tuners, of course, and these are in here aren't the original stock LTD tuners. I replaced them with Godot locking tuners. And now this isn't a review of these tuners, but I bought these back when I first wanted to try locking tuners. And I have to admit, in hindsight, I wish I would have spent the money on better tuners that aren't locking, because you pay for that locking feature. And I said that in another review. I think it might have been the Jackson review, that locking tuners for me are a bonus thing. I don't really care about it. I don't need to change my strings on the fly all the time. So yeah, I think if you really like, you can pay a lot of money for good tuners. So if you do not care about the locking functionality, just go for regular old tuners and spend a bit more money on them, so they will be tight and yeah, you can't pretty much loosen them by just pulling the string like a motherfucker. So since these are good, don't get me wrong, but I have been disappointed by them. So from time to time, if I really overbend, yeah, that might bring the guitar out of tune. But overall, just from the tremolo's point of view, super great. Now the overall feeling when you play the Trem. If you've seen one of my guitar reviews, I talk a lot about feeling, because that's so important to me. I don't really care what kind of metal this is, or what kind of, I don't know. Oftentimes I don't even care about the woods that have been used in the guitar, because in the end, if they feel bad, they feel bad, and I do not want to play the instrument, regardless of what I paid for it, right? So this tremolo, I have to say, is probably the best feeling tremolo I've ever played. Like, when I just play rhythm with it and just put my hand on it to play palm muted stuff, it feels almost soft for some weird reason. Like, very, very high quality, and it's just nice. And I mean, Floyd Rose bridges are generally the bridges that I love the most. I just think they feel very, very nice. But this one actually feels better, and I don't know. It's such a quality of life feature that you wouldn't really think about at first. I mean, I didn't. I wasn't expecting to be in awe about how the thing feels in the end. I just wanted to get this guitar going again. So yeah, from that point of view, I recommend it 100%. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A very quick and easy way to replace your old Floyd style tremolo in your guitar. When it comes to the recessed ones, does it look as good? Not really, but it's super practical. I think, like, I bought it for around $120. That's not it is pricey, but it works. Also, it feels great, and that's like what I said. When it feels good, I'm all for it. So I don't plan on doing this to other guitars, and I'm not even sure if this is going to be like the trem for this guitar for the rest of my life. I might put in a original Floyd Rose at some point, but for now, to use it as a backup for my main LTD session guitar, I'm super fucking happy with it, and I can absolutely recommend it. So let me know if you have one as well, if you plan on replacing your Floyd style tremolo in your guitars, whether they are top mounted or recessed. With that being said, thank you very much for tuning in again. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that all your guitars are now playable again. I hope to see you in the next video. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear about, what you want me to review, or if you just want me to talk nonsense about gear. I've been Chris, and that's that.